Hey guys, Pat Tokuyama here. Today I wanted to talk about three of my favorite cameras that I use for not only photography, time-lapse photography, food photography, but also my videos and cooking classes. Alright, so next I wanted to talk about the Sony A7IV. So the Sony A7IV is a full-frame camera by Sony. It's one of their most recent offerings. Basically for me, the reason that I got this was because I wanted to upgrade from the Sony A7 III, which I had since 2018 when it initially came out. I had been wanting 4K 60p for the longest time, and I finally got it, even though I don't really use it as much as I thought I would. That was one of the main reasons that I decided to upgrade to this camera, and then the second one was also to get a higher megapixel count for taking pictures of my daughter. So those two things were very important to me, of course, and that was why I decided to upgrade. And plus the additional features such as the better menus and better autofocus. Those are the reasons 3 and 4. For my food photography business, as well as my cooking classes, etc., I've realized that I couldn't use a phone like I initially thought I would. I was very resistant to getting a camera, but as soon as I got a camera, I realized right away that my pictures turned out much better, my videos looked a lot better, and there was no looking back. And then as soon as I got into astrophotography, or taking pictures of the starry night skies, I realized that I needed a full frame camera. And so starting with Nikon, here we are today with Sony after making a few changes. Actually, I started with Panasonic, then to Nikon, and then to Sony. So here we are today with the Sony A7 IV. It's one of my favorite cameras, has all the features that I want, at least want right now, and it performs very well. So we'll go ahead and talk about some of the pros and cons. I'll start with the pros first. This is a full frame camera, so you're gonna get excellent performance in low light situations, like if you're gonna be doing astrophotography or shooting indoors. This will give you some excellent results without really having to bump up that ISO too much and cause a lot of noise in your images. Second feature is because it's full frame, you have the ability to use it as crop mode. So if you have APS-C lenses, or if you want to get a different perspective using your full frame lenses, zooming in a little bit more, that crop mode feature will allow you to use one lens as if you had two different focal lengths. Pretty unique feature and definitely a pro in my opinion. Another pro is that it's 4K 60. I know this is sort of a con because it's a cropped 4K 60, but it still gives you the option to shoot some slow motion if you're into that for your video needs. 3, the focus tracking is excellent. So if you've used the tracking feature on Sony cameras before, or you'll soon find out that the eye focus is very good for humans as well as for animals, and you can half press it as well to make sure that you're always in focus. The 5th pro is that the camera is actually very comfortable to hold in your hand, and because it's a full frame camera, it's a little bit bigger. My hands aren't too large, but the hand grip is very nice to hold, and it feels very sturdy and comfortable for holding for long periods of time. Another pro for the Sony A7 IV is the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth is very good, stable connections. Every now and then I'll shoot remotely using the Sony app on my phone or using the Sony remote, which can help to minimize any camera movements, as well as not having to ask another person or having somebody else to help you do a shoot. Having that remote control feature functionality is always a good thing. And also being able to preview your images too. If you're in the middle of a shoot, being able to shoot with the app, or if you have an iPad or tablet, you'll be able to do so and get a nice preview of what it is that you're looking at before you move on to your next project or call it a day. So as far as the cons, I don't really have too many. Like I mentioned, I'm pretty happy and satisfied with this camera so far. Every now and then I have the camera overheat for some reason when shooting longer videos, even if I have the display closed and off. For some reason, I guess it gets a little bit too warm there, and I've had the camera shut off in the middle of a shoot, which is kind of annoying, even with the settings set at high. If you are going to be shooting video for longer durations, know that that could happen. And I think one of the things that actually makes it worse is having the battery charging with USB-C at the same time. I noticed that seems to make it worse. So I usually just shoot off battery where possible and try to keep the display open versus shut. The second con, I think a lot of people know that the video is, if you're going to be shooting 4K 60, it's going to be cropped. And also there's some rolling shutter issues, which may be a third con for some of you, but if you're not going to be using those back-to-back movements or looking for something like that, most people probably wouldn't even notice. Third is that this is a larger size camera, so if you're going to be out and about walking, traveling, carrying this on a strap or in your camera bag can get heavy over time, especially towards the end of the day. I mean, you might want something smaller, and I guess that's just one of the things that comes with the territory of full frame cameras, is that the camera itself is going to be larger, and so are the lenses, so larger and heavier. But overall, for me, I don't think that those cons really outweigh all of the pros that I mentioned. Like I said at the beginning, I really wanted something that was going to be full frame, the ability to shoot 4K 60 video, as well as take, when I get back into it, time-lapse photography of the night sky in the future. So this camera meets all of those most important needs for me. I've been very happy with it so far. The lens selection for Sony is fantastic. You don't have to use their lenses, even though they seem to have the best reviews. I've used a lot of other lenses that had perfectly fine results that I've been very happy with. I think in a nutshell, who is this camera for? Somebody who is somewhat serious about their photography or their video, is looking to experiment or wants to try different lenses to get different perspectives, different images, tell a story with their photography and or video, and wants to do so with a camera system that has very good autofocus, the ability to do both video and photography well. I think that's who this camera is for. So hopefully those points, those pros and cons, help you if you're trying to make a decision for this camera, or any camera for that matter. But that's what I was looking for this particular one, and it's met all of my needs. I've been very happy with it so far. I think that was everything I wanted to say. Well, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.